Good evening and shalom. I'm going to start this session off in reading a couple of verses. The first one is going to be in Luke chapter 21, verses 34 through 36. And this is the Messiah speaking here, Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah. And he says, "Be on guard that your heart may not be weighted down with dissipation and drunkenness and worries of life. And that day come upon you suddenly like a snare. For it will come upon the face of the earth. But keep alert at all times, praying in order that you may have strength to escape all these things that are about to take place and to stand before the Son of Man." Notice what he says here. He warns us to be on guard. He warns us to be sober and not be weighted down with the cares of this life and the affairs of this life. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are caught up in that situation today. They're just too involved in what's going on in their lives, in the activities of their lives. Some have neglected their spirituality altogether. They don't have a seeking to know the Creator. They don't have a hunger and a thirst for Him. But for those that have put their faith and trust in the Messiah, we have the promise from the Mashiach, the Messiah, that we could escape all the things that are about to take place. This is a warning to the world that the time is short. Time is upon us. I believe the rapture could happen at any day, any time. I'm excited about the time that we're living in because the nearness of His coming is so real. I've been studying many hours, many days, many scriptures, and the more I study, the more excited I get, the more convinced I get of the fact is that the rapture has to occur before the tribulation, or the Daniel 70th week happens, or Jacob's trouble is another term of this time frame. It's also referred to as the day of Yahuwah, or the day of the Lord. You'll see it in your English translations. But what will set off the day of the Lord, or the day of Yahuwah, will be the catching up of the bride. I'm convinced, and as I shared in my dream that I had, and that's basically, if you go back to my channel, you'll find in part 1 that I described my dream that I had. And one of the things that was real, I was really aware of, was the fact is that it was just an ordinary day. It was nothing special about this particular day. In other words, it wasn't a day that, say, I would woke up and saying the rapture is going to happen, or I'm really looking for it to happen today. It was not like that at all. It was just an ordinary day, and I was going about I was in my home, going from one room to the other, and then that's when it started to take place. That's when as I shared with you in my dream, that I noticed that I looked outside, and of course this was in the middle of the daytime. It was a bright, sunshiny day around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just happened to look out my window and noticed that it was pitch black dark. Well, that just doesn't happen normally. It may get cloudy, in the daytime, and it may when a storm is coming, but this is totally different. It was a pitch black, just like it is at night, at midnight, outside in the middle of the day. And of course it with me seeing that, I knew something was about to happen, and that's when I started experiencing this all this energy coming into my body. And then the next thing I realized, I'm going up. And I'm not saying that the rapture has to happen this way, but I'm just saying this is what my dream was about. It was very real, and like I said, one of the things that really stood out to me was that it caught me by surprise. It was, even though I'm looking for it to happen any day, just the fact that it happened, and I was aware that it happened, and I knew that it wasn't anything special in particular about that day that I was looking for. And that's really what the Messiah says right here in Luke chapter 21, starting at verse 34 through 36. He said it was going to come upon the earth as a snare. Now think about this for a moment. If the rapture, or the catching up of the church, were to happen at the end, say, of Daniel's 70th week, or Jacob's trouble, or the tribulation period, if that happened at the end, how could that be a snare? I mean, if you realize what's going to transpire during those 7 years, I mean, it's going to be a terrible time. It's not going to be a day as being normal at all. I mean, you know, you're talking about by the time the end of the tribulation is or happens, after the Great Tribulation, you're talking about 3/4 of the population of the earth have already died. There's only a third of the population still surviving. Those will be some of them will be Jews and some of them will be Gentiles. But the only people that will be left and allowed to enter the millennial reign were those that are saved out of the Yahudim, or the Jews, and those that have been saved during the tribulation period. People will be saved during the tribulation period. But it's going to be a hard time for them. There'll be most people will have to give up their lives because of the persecution of believers during that time frame. But it's better to die for your faith than it would be to die and go to hell and to be separated from the Creator and to spend eternity in a place that is a place of torment. And so anyway, the fact is that things will not be normal. If it were to come upon the world as a snare, which that's what the Scripture says, then the people aren't prepared for it. So it has to be talking about the catching up of the church at this point. This is what he's talking about. See, the coming of the Mashiach is really in two phases. It's coming for the bride and to catch us up. He's fulfilling a promise that he made to us in Luke chapter. I forgot the chapter. But anyway, where Yahushua declared to his disciples, he said, Luke 14. He said, I'm going to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And he said that he would come and receive us unto himself. See, he didn't say, I'm coming and that I'm going to be with you. He said, I'm coming that you might be with me. And we know where he is now. He's with the Father. He said, I'm going to the Father's house, or the Father's place, which is in the Shamayim, in the heavens. And he would come back for us to be with him as his bride. And of course, the marriage will take place in heaven in Revelation chapter 19 before the Messiah comes back. There's so many scriptures, there's so much evidence of proof. The fact is that we as believers will be caught up before the Jacob's trouble or the day of Yahuwah. I'm going to stop here, then we'll pick back up. There's another verse here I want to read over in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 we'll get into on our next segment. Thank you again. Please share this with others, especially on Facebook and other friends, with the other friends you have. Encourage them to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And like I said, I've got over 1,200 videos for you to listen to and to be ministered to. And so again, thank you for all of your support. And just be encouraged to know that look up, because our redemption is drawing near. Shalom.